and welcome back to Just Jen Baking. Today I am very excited because it is my good friend's milestone birthday. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, I can't see him and celebrate in person, but we're going to play a little game of Ding Dong Ditch and leave a surprise cake for him at his doorstep. So, first we have to make that cake. I am going to be making a fantastic chocolate cake. It's one of my favorite recipes. It's from Live for Cake. And this one is filled with an edible cookie dough frosting in between the layers, and then topped with a drippy, delicious chocolate ganache. So I have 2 ounces of heavy whipping cream. I have 2 ounces of good baking chocolate that I have chopped up. Doesn't need to be quite this fine, but just enough so that it melts a little more smoothly. And then you're going to add the chocolate to your heavy whipping cream. And we're going to microwave this in 10-second bursts, stirring in between. Basically, you're just trying to make sure that the chocolate is melted and evenly mixed. So now our chocolate is all melted and nicely mixed with the cream. Nice, beautiful shine on that. So now I'm just going to set that to the side and let that set. And I am going to cover it with plastic wrap, and this just helps make sure it doesn't get any sort of weird coating on the top. Okay, now that our ganache is sitting and setting, we are ready to make the rest of our cake batter. So I have all my dry ingredients measured out and all my wet ingredients measured out. I have my cake pans prepped. Now this time I have, again, I've greased them with butter, but instead of flour I used cocoa powder. And that's really common when you're making a chocolate cake. You don't really want to have white powder on the outside of it if it's a chocolate cake. So it's just kind of nice to use cocoa powder because it just enhances the chocolate, which is never a bad thing. I have my bake strips soaking in the sink. Oven is preheated to 350, and we're ready to mix our ingredients. So I have some flour sifted in the bowl of a stand mixer. To that I will add my sugar. I have some baking soda, some baking powder, some salt, and, of course, a lot of cocoa powder. And we'll give that a little mix together. Now that my dry ingredients are mixed together, I'm ready to mix together my wet ingredients. So first I have 3 large eggs, room temperature. To that, I'm going to add my buttermilk. I'm going to add a good amount of vegetable oil. You'll see that's really common with chocolate cakes. That's part of what makes them so moist and delicious. And then we also are going to add either hot water or hot coffee. And that might sound a little odd. You might say, well, I'm not really a coffee person, so I don't want to add coffee. It does not taste like coffee, I promise. It just ends up enhancing the chocolate flavor. So highly recommend. Like I said, it won't taste like coffee. You're not making a coffee cake or a coffee flavored chocolate cake. It just enhances the chocolate flavor, and I highly recommend it. Now, again, because this is hot, you're going to want to add it slowly. You don't want to cook the eggs in here, really. They'll cook in the oven. We're going to add a generous amount of vanilla, and I'm going to take my own advice and actually measure with my heart. It calls for about 3 teaspoons, so that is a good amount. Then we're going to add all of that to our dry mixture. And we're going to mix that for about 2 to 3 minutes. I'll probably give it a little cursory mix with my spatula as well afterwards, just to make sure that all of the dry mixture is fully incorporated. You don't want to mix it, you don't want to overmix it though. Oh, Jesus. That is why this is a thing. That's better. All good. That has been mixing for about 2 or 3 minutes, and it looks amazing. Now, you want to disperse it evenly between however many cake pans you're using. I'm using 3. ready to go in the oven for about 30 to 35 minutes or until the inserted toothpick comes out clean. And our cakes are done. So first of all, look at that beautiful flat top. We're just going to let them chill or cool on a wire rack for about 10 minutes while we make our cookie dough frosting. We have 1.5 cups of butter at room temperature, and to that we're going to add some both white sugar and some brown sugar. And we are going to beat those together for about 2 to 3 minutes until it's pale and fluffy. So that's been going for about 2 to 3 minutes, and it's looking nice and pale and fluffy. So now we're going to add some vanilla. We're now going to mix in a little bit of salt with our heat-treated flour. First, we're going to sift our heat-treated flour. Now that we've sifted our flour, now we are going to slowly add it to the cookie dough. So we're going to slowly alternate with our milk because it is very thick. Oh, it's so good. Now, I'm using mini chocolate chips. You can use regular sized chocolate chips, but mini chocolate chips are going to be a little easier to spread this cookie dough frosting just because they won't snag on the spatula. So, that is done, which means it's time to address our cakes. So, I'm going to carefully pop it out. And see how easy it comes out because we treated our pans. If we had not done that, I would have had to fight with it. Oof, I love this chocolate cake recipe so much. They are still a little warm, so I'm not going to try to frost them or assemble anything yet. I'm also going to still let them cool on the wire rack. I'll probably even put it in the fridge just to make sure it cools more quickly. You can see how moist that cake is all the way from there. Or at least I hope you can. I can see it, that's for sure. And also look how flat those cake layers are. Now I'm probably still going to level them a little bit, just because we are doing what's called a naked cake, which means I'm not really frosting it, I'm just putting frosting in between. I do want them to be kind of perfectly level. So I'll probably level them, but you can see we don't have this huge dome that we have to cut off, which is good. I have terrible news. I forgot to press record on the last bit of my cake making, which is really unfortunate because you missed me trying some of the cake scraps, and it was life-changing. I mean, life-changing. I'll try to recreate it for you, but it won't be the same. So what you missed is I first leveled my layers with this handy-dandy wire. You just set each side to the side you want, and you cut off little tops. Now put its feet on the ground and shimmy its way over. That gives you some delicious cake scraps that you can try. I then took my cookie dough frosting and spread it on each layer. It was a little difficult to get flat, but I did the best I could. Then I took my bench scraper and went along the sides to kind of scrape off any excess and to try to make it as flat and smooth of sides as possible. But most importantly, I then tried this concoction. Because I have some leftover cookie dough, and if you insist, I'll try it again. Took some of my cake scraps, put some cookie dough on it. That's the most amazing thing. I'm sorry you missed my initial reaction. This one's just as genuine, but this is unreal. Go to liveforcake.com, search for cookie dough cake, and make this. Like right now. Like whatever you do. Stop watching this video even. I don't even care. Don't watch this video. Go make this cake. It's ridiculous. I mean, like, I don't understand why I haven't been making cookie dough cakes exclusively for all of eternity. Ridiculous. So, I'm now going to put this in the freezer because I want it to be super duper cold before I put my ganache and drip over it. So unfortunately, I have this new remote shutter, and I apparently am struggling with it. So the addition of this ganache also got mixed. But, fortunately or unfortunately, I ran out of ganache, so I had to make more ganache, so you get to see round 2. Now, once it comes out of the freezer, once it's done setting, if it's not the right consistency, you can microwave it for a second or two to get it a little more mobile. And a way to check if you're happy with the consistency is to use an overturned glass and try to drip along the side. And if you're happy with that, then you're good to actually use it on your cake. And as a finishing touch to this cake, we are adding some crushed up Chips Ahoy to the top. So that'll cover some of our imperfections. So there we have it. A chocolate cake with cookie dough frosting, a chocolate ganache drip with some crushed cookies on top. If that doesn't look like the most delicious cake that I just want to take a big slice and a big glass of milk, then I don't know what does. So thank you for watching. Tune in next time.